guys, how's it going? Today I want to show you 5 different plants that add beautiful winter interest to your garden, and I thought this would be a good day to do it because it's the first actually chilly day of the fall and it's raining a little bit, but it's still early enough in the season where you can plant. Usually you want to plant anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before your first hard frost. So it's a good time to go out into your garden with a critical eye and look for holes or spots where you could use a little bit more winter interest. So the first plant on my list is actually 2. It's 2 different varieties of yellow arborvitae. This is the first one right here. This is called Anna's Magic Ball. This one is actually full grown, so it's a dwarf or miniature. It grows 10 to 15 inches tall and wide, and it maintains the spherical shape even with no pruning, so it's basically a no maintenance plant. It does like a part sun to sun location to maintain this nice color. It's more shade tolerant though than a lot of other evergreens. And I just think that other than its size being unique, the fact that it maintains this really pretty yellow all throughout the entire season is really, really nice. And it's different, you know, because you can put all kinds of different greens and blue evergreens out in your garden, but this is just something a little bit more unique. It's also a zone 3 through 7, so incredibly winter hardy. So it's really well suited for containers throughout the winter, and the fact that it stays smaller too, it lasts a lot longer in containers. So I have one right here next to a pathway. Those of you guys who've been watching our videos know that we just had a bunch of oak trees removed along this area here. I did not have enough room when the oak tree was here to put another one here, but now you can just like visually add another one over here, and won't that be beautiful? I think that they're just so great to flank a pathway in containers tucked into a flower bed, and then once your perennials and annuals start to fade out for the winter, you'll still have this beautiful thing to look at through the winter months. So let's head over to the second yellow arborvitae. This one is called Fluffy, which I think is a great name, but we recently put together a video highlighting this one specific variety because I just think it's such a great option, but it grows very differently from Anna's Magic Ball while still having kind of the same color. So this one wants to grow about 5 to 10 feet tall and anywhere from about 3 to 5 or 6 feet wide. So it's definitely a much bigger specimen, but we all have different yard situations in different areas, and so having multiple different options of mature sizes is really nice. And this one just has that ferny, wispy texture. It's really soft, it smells really good. It also likes a part sun to sun location, and it maintains this color throughout the year, whole year. So this one is not quite as winter hardy as Anna's Magic Ball. This one's a zone 5 through 8. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one fills up this space right here. I think it looks especially pretty up against this Wicked Witch Coleus. I think this might have to be a repeat plant because I like the contrast that we have going on right here. Number 2 is this little guy right here. This is a Gembox Inkberry Holly, which at first glance looks an awful lot like a boxwood, which I think is why I like it so much, because I'm a huge boxwood fan. But if you live in an area that deals with boxwood blight or other issues plaguing your boxwood, this is a really good alternative. They grow in kind of a nice round shape. They grow about 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, so they're excellent for hedging. When they flush new growth in the spring, the tips are red, so it gives you a little interest that way. Now these are a zone 5 through 9. So for us who are gardening in a zone 5, it is a little bit riskier to put them in a container and expect them to winter over. So it's something that I'm always mindful of. If the temperature drops to a cold enough temperature, I'll either move it to our greenhouse or move it in closer to the house where it's a little bit more protected. These do prefer a moist soil that's a little bit more on the acidic side. Now here in Eastern Oregon, we're very high alkaline on the pH scale, so it's actually best for us to put them in containers because I can control the pH level in containers a lot easier than I can in the landscape. I also have 2 of these I planted up in urns earlier on this spring I wanted to show you. So let's head out to the pergola. So this is a little bit of a shadier spot. Right above this pergola, we've got juniper branches, and then the whole pergola is kind of covered with Virginia creeper, and it's beautiful, but I have to have evergreens that can handle just a little bit more shade, which the Gembox can do part sun to sun, and they've done pretty well under here. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I mean, look at this. This Gembox is like the perfect little spherical shape right here in the center of this container, and I kind of wanted that. I didn't want anything really tall because I didn't want anything to obstruct the view to the house, which I really like from this angle. I've got some goldchild ivy and pansies planted around the base of it, and I just think they're the perfect size. So this one right here started out a little smaller than that one over there, and it has filled in. It has a little bit of catching up yet to do to catch up with that one, but overall they've done great here. So now the other 3 plants I want to talk to you about are in the greenhouse, so we'll head that way. Number 3 is the Celtic Pride Siberian Cyprus, and I was so excited to get my hands on one of these because I've been wanting to plant one and try one in my garden for a while now, and I got one small enough that I could use it in this container for the winter time and then pop it out into my landscape. And I love to do that, kind of multi-purpose my plants. And you kind of like, when you initially look at this plant, you see how like ferny and delicate the foliage looks, and you think, oh, this is not going to be very winter hardy, it's going to get tip dieback, but it's actually a zone 2 through 7. Like, that's one of the hardier evergreens I think I have here on my property, and it doesn't get the tip dieback like a lot of other evergreens that look like this. So I'm really excited about that. And it can actually tolerate some shade. It can tolerate dry conditions. It's really deer resistant, and it wants to grow somewhere between 1 and 3 feet tall and from 3 to 5 feet wide. So usually it takes on more kind of a ground cover appearance, a little bit of a higher ground cover appearance, like a really nice lush green carpet. And in the winter time, it does take on kind of a russet purple tone. So you do get some winter interest in that it changes colors for a few months and then comes back to this nice green. So this one does like moist soil, but it likes it to be well drained like most other evergreens do. And you do not need to prune this. You just want to put this somewhere where you can let it do its thing. It's just a beauty. Number 4 on my list is the Berry Poppins Winterberry Holly, and I have talked about this plant numerous times because I usually am able to get a hold of a few branches for holiday projects, but I've yet to plant some in my own yard. So I got a hold of 3 of these, and I'm going to be planting them somewhere near our house. I haven't decided exactly where yet, but I want them to be in a spot where I can see them from a window that I'm nearby a lot, because I really want to enjoy these to the fullest, because I mean, they are so beautiful. They are a deciduous shrub, so all of the green leaves will go away, but it actually makes this a little bit more impactful, I think. They usually have a really heavy set of red berries, like you can see right here, and imagine this plant at its more mature size of 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, full of these red berries. It's going to be glorious. And Berry Poppins is nice because it's more of a compact variety than your traditional winterberry hollies, which usually get really big. So these are a lot easier to site in your garden. The thing about these though is you do have to have a male pollinating variety. So this one right here is called Mr. Poppins. This one can pollinate up to 5 female Berry Poppins variety, but you have to have them within 50 feet of each other, which is kind of nice. So I can put these 3 Berry Poppins somewhere very prominent, and then this one I can just tuck in somewhere else in the flower bed, just so long as it's about 50 feet or closer to these. That way they'll get pollinated and we'll get the red berries. Otherwise you'll get blooms, but you won't, like little white blooms in the spring, but you won't see the berries follow up later on. These are a zone 3 through 9. They attract birds and are resistant to deer. One thing you do want to think about is if you do have pets that like to eat on your plants, this is not one you'll want to put in your yard because they are toxic. And I don't know if it takes a lot of them or a little of them to make a difference, but it's probably not something that you want to risk. And one other thing about these is that they're really great for wet spots in your garden. So if you have problem areas that are in a part sun to sun location, these would be great because they adapt really well to that, and it doesn't matter if it's light soil or heavy soil, they just seem to like that sort of situation. So when I put them in our flower beds, I'm going to make sure to put extra drip irrigation run to these so that they stay really happy. And the last one, number 5 on my list, is a juniper called Gin Fizz. Junipers are one of the very few native plants for our area. They're the one that you can put in the ground and they just do well. They thrive and they grow fairly quickly. So I'm really excited to watch this one grow. This one gets about 10 to 18 feet tall, 7 to 10 feet wide. So this is one of the larger plants that I'm showing to you today, even though right now it's in this small can, so it's obviously a baby, a little baby plant, but as it grows, it'll take on more of a pyramidal shape, and it's just a very thick, striking appearance in the garden, and it gets a very heavy crop of kind of bluish green juniper berries. So you get a lot of interest, and I love to use these, especially when they have berries on them, in decorating projects around the holidays. They're just so versatile. They do attract birds and they resist deer, and they are a zone 4 through 8. It likes a spot with full sun and a spot where you can let it grow to its full size. That way it eliminates the need for you to prune on it, which typically these do not need to be pruned. In fact, you don't want to prune into their woody growth, like down into this stuff right here, because it can take them quite a long time to recover from cuts like that. So just give it the space it needs. I just feel like these are a really great, even just single specimen plant in the back of a border, or a really great one for hedging or screening purposes. And I really just think the color is beautiful. It's kind of like a deep green with more chartreuse green tips. So that's it. That's my list of 5 plants for winter interest. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of these different plants. I always love to learn about new stuff and incorporate them into my garden. It's fun to keep our spaces fresh and different and changing and looking beautiful all the time. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.